If Europeans and the pale Arabs living in the country so-called Egypt are indigenous, why are they digging up graves? What's the reason for them digging up these graves? Welcome to our channel, Hamiti Hebrew Ethics. Subscribe and share, and let us learn together where matters of our spirituality and physical identity are clarified and restored, so that we can take that which was stolen, know that which was hidden, and understand that which has been misrepresented. Ali fafanua duko anya kujekesa ikasiso alenda salai. Now, we know that these people occupying Northeast Africa, especially in Egypt, are not indigenous but foreigners whose ancestors came via invasion, war, and conquering and enslaving. That's why they are busy repainting images, manufacturing fake statues, rewriting their earlier narratives, trying to say Mesopotamia is older than Kemet, which is a total lie. Going along chopping off noses of real indigenous rulers and people of Northeast Africa. Islam banned books and scrolls. Christianity banned books and scrolls. Judaism perfectly hates ancient Kemet. Now, how do they lie and how do they go about that? So we want to look at the number of ways they do that. First, which is geography, the way they lie using geography, which is a lie. There was no Middle East, it's all Africa. Then the invaders use subtle racism. They had no achievement in their countries of origin. We look at this man, especially Zawi Hawasi, Turkish European, who came into Egypt, who now says, no, Egyptians were not black. You are not black. Go out of Africa. They falsify history. Even European scholars in their earlier times, like Constantine Devon here, he taught and said, just to think that this race of black men, today our slave and the object of our scorn, is the very race to which we owe our arts, our sciences, and even the use of speech. Today they come and try to correct that. So falsification of history. They also continue in cultural thefts by stealing artifacts and remastering artifacts. You can see here a pale Arab or a European hijacking black African history and images in Kemet by repainting them. It's a lie. It's a total lie. We have caught you. We know you. There is no way that Egyptologists or anyone can come with new evidence trying to prove that ancient Egyptians were not black. Now, the last one, which is very, very important, is that you name it, you own it. The wisdom of ancient Kemet is written and taught today, and the names that we receive from the hieroglyphics are Europeanized, because Egyptologists decided that since hieroglyphics didn't have vowels, they will use European vowels, and they will pronounce the names of our kings and our history using European languages, so-called Semitic languages or Asiatic languages, which is a total lie. Therefore, the names that you use today, Osiris, Horus, Isis, etc., are all Europeans. That's why here at Marifado, we have changed all those names of the divinities and the many, many places to indigenous names. That's how we can survive in this world. So, we must know with evidence that the majority of current people in Egypt and Northeast Africa are Europeans, and some of them are mulattoes. The real Egyptians are Africans, now marginalized and hidden away from the focus of the world. It's the same all over the world where Europeans colonized. This includes the so-called Copts, who are Greeks. They are not indigenous. No two ways about it, because we know that modern Copt genetic profile shows substantial Middle Eastern and European elements. It's not African. They are not melanin dominant. Now, they came with Ptolemy. These are the ones that came with Ptolemy. Go to Egypt, search Reloaded, probots.com, and read a lot about these so-called Copts. They are Christians anyway, so they are European. We must also be in a position to debunk European lies, as well as Asiatic lies that is always propelled in the social media as well as in public media and state-controlled broadcasting and television. Like ancient Egyptians are more closely related to Europeans than modern Egyptians. Scientists claim. It's a claim of European scientists. It's a lie. Egyptians were more European than African. Groundbreaking DNA research on mummies review. They take mummies after Persian invasion, after Roman invasion, after Greek invasion, and then they say these are the DNA. A total, complete fabrication and lie, because the Egyptians, original Hamiticians, look like that, as well as like that. This is Tutankhamun's father, so-called Tutankhamun. And we know that ancient Egypt has gone through a series of invasion by foreigners that crossed the red line. Other races that crossed the red line. Melanin recessive races like Camgasis from Persia, who crossed the red line and invaded us. Modern Greeks, as well as modern Romans, who crossed the red line and came and started to whiten our race in Northeast Africa, as well as the Pale Arabs. It's very, very clear. You don't need any other proof there. What we know, especially today, comes from the Ottoman Empire, where in the rule of the Seljuk Turks, Europeans of Turkish origins, they conquered Hamit. And they fought against themselves, of course, Europeans. Muhammad Ali was succeeded by one of his descendants. Sultan, later King Fahd I, a descendant of Muhammad Ali, was crowned King of Egypt. He was removed later by the same Arabs. They fight amongst themselves. So when we come to the situation or information that seems to suggest that Egypt and its identity is a crisis, it's a lie, a preparatory lie, a propagandizing lie, preparing you for more lies. It is not the truth at all. For instance, this man is a good footballer, plays for Liverpool. Mohamed Salah is not an African in the proper sense. He might be born in Africa, but is a descendant of invaders, Seljuk Turks, who colonized Northeast Africa. He does not look like anything like that or like that. He is a European, proper, fair, and square, who lives in Africa but now plays in Europe. Vintage Egyptians. History is written by victors. This implies that history is not grounded in fact. You need to think and prove everything. Otherwise, it's the winner's interpretation of the narrative that prevails in your reality. The victors can force their narrative down people's throats, directly or indirectly, because remember, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. Therefore, we need to answer people on Quora and other sites and blogs who think that Egyptians were not melanin dominant. Images tell the truth. The history, the geography tells the truth. He is a mulatto, Anwar Sadat, and he is a Seljuk Turk, a European of Turkish origin. They not look like him. No two ways about that. So let's look at the vintage images and continue to show who the indigenous people were. This is a veiled lady, a Turkish veiled lady, surrounded by a group of indigenous young Hamiticians or Africans, males, and a black middle-aged man dressed in large black garb and white turban. He's converted to Islam, obviously. Correct Egyptian history is from ancient Egyptian civilization, and all the people as late as the 1900s were vintage black Africans, melanin dominant Africans, not melanin recessive, who are Europeans of Turkish extraction. Melanin dominant people are indigenous to Egypt. The other ones are descendants of invaders. See, a Beja woman and a Beja warrior and a mulatto boy. Very, very clear, straightforward. An Afari man having a traditional hairstyle with a stick to make curly hair 2005. Same as the Beja man. A young Beja warrior, possibly from Aswan or Luxor. Indigenous Africans in Hamit, so-called Egypt. More of the melanin dominant human beings during the British rule. They look like Sphinx. They look like Sphinx, not like a British. Here now is another way they lie. See, these are melanin dominant human beings of ancient Hamit. This is where lies are mixed with some truths. And they said this is Ramses II. A total lie. Ramses II looked like that and like that. Not like this. This is a European. Whether it's a mummy but they're taking mummies after the invasion. So let's not fall for these lies at all. A young Himba man with a Hamitic hairstyle, same as Hamitic hairstyle. You can't find it in these descendants of invaders. Same style, hairstyle here, same Bob Marley, Rasta, same Pharaoh, same style. So don't be cheated. In the 1900s, you can see our own people standing at the pillar here. Benyu, melanin dominant human beings. An indigenous Egyptian family and the Nile Valley civilization photographed in 1870 by Antonio Piatto. Melanin dominant. No pale here, no Europeans here, no Turkish tricks. Again, our areas of focus must be to understand the images that were not remastered and know that later on these images were remastered. You can see here Runoko Rashid, the late African historian and photographer, showing African men depicted in the temples of Hatshepsut Edel El Bahari in Hamit. Before racism had become full-blown, they used to show our people exactly like that. Melanin dominant human beings. We are the indigenous people of Hamit, Mohenjo-Daro, India, Mesopotamia, as well as in the Americas, inclusive of Europe, Australia, and any islands. Europeans arrived on the earth only 8,000 years ago. Asiatics, 15,000 years ago. Our ancestors, 3.5 billion years ago, plus more going back perhaps to 78 trillion years ago. So let's continue to look at this and see that this is a mulatto on board, mixing up with indigenous people. And before they were being ignored, they were shown as the owners and founders of that civilization in Hamid. This is a 1908 image. We were still there. And this is the current image of melanin dominant human beings in Hamid. True indigenous people you want to see on international media look like that. The strategy we need here is to unite with these people pronto and ignore our slight differences of religion, spirituality, language, but unite at the physical level and say we are one all over the earth. This is what we need to network and to continue networking. Because mulattoes, who are the general bridge into Europeanism or Arabization, are on the rise. They do not play. They are into movies, into music, into social media, while we are looking at TikTok and dancing to nonsensical pieces. This is what we need to look at and to say, yes, our indigenous people should look like the Sphinx. The key is the Sphinx. That's why they once said they want to bomb it and destroy it, because they know that is the evidence, not these mulatto or these foreign invaders all over the shore. Here again, we continue to debunk the lies of Egyptology. This is Nefertiti, who was a proper true Muntu, a Bantu, Ndafaratitit. She didn't look like this. And this was Nefertiti, a Bantu woman wearing isisholo, straightforward and ancient women also. This is Zulu woman, Nguni woman, Swazi princess wearing isisholo, straight, clear, no two ways about that. The revolution continues. Even in North Africa and Northeast Africa and in East Africa, culture is still there. It's prevalent in the dress way, in the language, in the religion, in the spirituality. This is from Ledama photo grid. It's very, very clear that 3,000 years later, we are still wearing the same style, the same artifacts, the same clothing that we used to wear 3,000 or 4,000 years ago. This is a Kalenjin Pokot collar, same as ancient Hamitian collar. This is again same Kalenjin Pokot collar, same made of reed grass. The same here. Clear, straightforward. There is no missing the mark here. We must get re-energized by these images and these vintage images to keep walking in our melanin dominant identity with no compromise at all. No compromise, even an inch. We need the spirit of Oresu and to use our free will to achieve against all internal as well as external enemies. Against Sutek, the victim mentality must be violently removed, and we must know who the enemy is and continue to step our feet on him. We know the enemy is very sly. They came first smiling with fake respect, and then afterwards conquered and took over our continent, and today they are enjoying our wealth and our riches. Well, we share this information here. Like and share and subscribe to our channel, Hamiti Iburu Ethics. Many may say we critique a lot and we do not offer solution, that we attack a lot, but we use accurate evidence, accurate proof, and the images we have shown today fall under proof and evidence of who we are and where we have come from and the identity of the invader. The solution for all of us is to embrace Amen-Ra. He is ready for your call. A ready power, invincible, invisible, as well as visible in this universe. Yet, he respects and she respects your free will. It is time for you to subsume your free will and invite him and call upon him and her, not only in name, but in dedication and in deeds, by supporting those that are promoting your survival as a race, and give your soul to this as a vessel so that Amen-Ra can empower you. If you need more information, please do not hesitate to send an email to join@marifado.com. We may not respond immediately and quickly as we used to do because we're receiving a lot of requests and a lot of questions. Yohamaneja Topi, Priest Teacher Rabbi, LM Tumizul, Kunikenim Jakanja, saying we are the descendants of Amen-Ra, Amun-Ra, and we have the power to rise up to the highest pinnacle ever, beginning today. Ameni.